we need to talk about David. Hi guys, welcome back. First of all, I should probably give some backstory to what all this is about. And basically, if you haven't seen my previous vlogs, I use the SBox spirit box at home to communicate with, well, spirits. I assume it's spirits, it's something intelligent that is talking to me through this. And I usually get the same kind of voices coming through. They're sort of recognisable, about 3 or 4 of them. And I often sometimes do go out to other places, see if I can speak to other spirits. And I get some really interesting things through. And I went to the grave of my great-great-grandparents, trying to find out whether an old picture of a man on a brooch was the man in the grave, my great-great-grandfather. I have very good reason to think it was. The answer seemed to confirm that it was. And yeah, that was interesting. And then I had the grave restored. And went back to see what the spirits thought about that. And ever since then, David has been coming through. And David is in the grave as well. He is the husband of Caroline, whose parents were William, the man on the brooch, and Elizabeth. So this would be my nan's dad. And yeah, every time I've been doing a spirit box session at home, the name David has been coming through incessantly. And I know it's a very common name, but I wasn't getting that name at all before I did the grave. And I'm trying to find out why and what's going on here, because the other spirits don't seem to like him very much. And I wish I could say this came as a surprise to me, but it doesn't, unfortunately. I never met him. He died in 1988, at 94 actually, which is a pretty impressive age to get to. And I don't believe my nan was in contact with him at that time either. She never spoke about him very much. She was very fond of her mum, but less so with her dad. I'm not going to go into too many details, but let's just say things like things that would certainly be considered abuse nowadays. Physical chastisement, I think it was thought of at the time, but definitely abuse now, not just to her, but to his wife as well. And there's other stuff I've heard that it's just not very pleasant. And yeah, so he's coming through on this in my home sessions, and the spirits don't seem to want him there. And I'm thinking, well, this is awkward. What do we do about this? Because I was quite happy. I was thinking, oh great, you know, a family member, somebody I can put a face to a name. But I've been getting some really interesting things coming through. Have a listen to this. I'm having to do these recorded on the SD card at home because, again, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that they do not like to speak on camera. I literally asked them a few hours ago, just sitting there, no camera on me. I was getting loads of responses, and I said, why aren't you like this when I'm on camera? And I'll play this later. It came through and it said something like, oh, I don't like it when the camera's on or something. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'll have another go at the end of this, but I do try and, you know, respect their wishes on that. Something else really interesting that's been happening with this is that they're starting to be able to say more and more long sentences. And this is interesting, and I think this proves it isn't just, well, one of many things actually that proves it isn't just radio bleed that's coming through this, as is often the criticism against it. A few weeks ago, I was doing a session here at home and I heard this long sentence, and it's always like just underneath all of the loud stuff, and it's a full complete sentence. I was like, whoa, that's new. And ever since then, I've been getting more and more and more of these faint but full sentences. And with the software that I'm using, I go in and I turn the volume right up and I play it over and over and over. And most of the time I can decode them pretty well. And some of the most intelligent responses are in those full sentences. And it's interesting to me because this radio is scanning at high speed. Like, you can hear how quickly it's scanning through the radio stations with the background noise. And yet this full sentence is happening all the while. This is supposedly scanning through multiple radio channels. So how does that work when you have an intelligent sentence underneath it? That can't be radio bleed, because it wouldn't stay on one radio station long enough to say a full sentence. I'm going to play you some examples of this later so you can judge for yourself. But they're doing it more and more, which shows that they're evolving. And evolution is intelligent. It's intelligent communication. You know, if this was just radio bleed and it was all just coincidence, why is it evolving? Why do people get swear words through when that wouldn't be allowed on the radio? There are so many things that proved, to me at least, that this is intelligent communication, and I think people should be aware of it. I think it's incredible. I've been reading up about the guy, what's his name? Frank something. I've only just found out about this guy. Frank Sumption, that's it. And who invented the first spirit box back in 2002. So this technology has been around for over 20 years now. And it's still relatively unheard of. And I think word needs to get out there. If we can talk to spirits, that's pretty major, and people need to know, I think. So yeah, I'm having to record clips off camera in order to get the best response, which is frustrating. I would like to be able to show it in real time because they do answer my questions, and that comes across well on camera, but not so much on the just when you're listening to the audio. But I will try and insert bits so you can see kind of the things that I was asking and how relevant the replies were. So yeah, this is the one I just did recently. This is the one I just did a few hours ago, so you can compare how much I get off camera compared to what I'm going to probably get in a minute on camera. Sorry, before I play that clip, I just remembered something. Somebody told me to try AM radio. I did try that just before, and I got nothing at all was coming through. Maybe a couple of tiny little bits where it's like they were trying but couldn't quite. So after a while I gave up, switched back to FM, and this is what I got. One of the first things I asked them, I said, so you weren't getting on very well with AM then? This is what they said.
The feeling.
Robot. Roll up. Here we are. Happy birthday.
You just need.
But that's great. It is lovely. Absolute. Terry, that only one. One more from. Learn it.
So yeah, back to David. I'm not sure why the spirits don't seem to like him, or if it even is him. This is the thing, we can't be sure that people are who they actually say they are. They might be, it might be something else. We still don't know what we're talking to yet on this. I mean, there aren't really any experts on this. It's still very much, I'm figuring it out as I go, you know. So I'm trying to take everything with a pinch of salt. But yeah, I am intrigued to know why the spirits don't seem to like him, or if he's okay, if he needs help. I try and sort of ask this, but I get intelligent responses, but not necessarily answers, I've noticed. But yeah, I'm going to play you a full session in which David came through quite a bit, and well, tell me what you think is going on here. I'd be interested to know.
Bye. Elder. I was cross.
to
Price. It's
yang nanti
So now I'm not really sure whether I sort of should keep David around or not. It's a shame because he's a family member, and I felt, you know, this is really amazing that you can go to a grave and make contact with someone that's in it who's never even met me. And that's pretty amazing. Caroline seemed to come through as well, I'm not sure. But I don't quite know what to do now, if he's causing bother with the other spirits that talk to me, and they all seem a fairly good bunch. They seem to have my best interests at heart. I don't feel like there's anything, you know, really negative or worrying or anything like that. My house isn't haunted. This is the strange thing. People say, oh, don't do this in your house, it'll be haunted. I've had no ghostly activity, nothing like that at all. And I have made it clear as well to the spirits that talk to me, any nonsense, any funny business, and I will stop the whole thing at home. And I think they respect that. So I feel mutual respect is probably the best way to approach communication with this kind of thing. That being said, I'm probably going to annoy them right now because I'm going to try another session. I know they don't like this. But so much was coming through earlier, and I was just over there, like, what's the difference? Again, responding to my circumstances, that's intelligent. Like, you know, every single time I have the camera on me, there's very little, and then there's loads when I'm off camera. That's intelligent. That's not something that would happen coincidentally. So I think there's so much evidence now.
SBox. Scanning FM.
As always, I'm going to record it. That's the only way I can understand it. Could you talk to me? Is David here? Where have you all gone? Is there anyone at all that would like to speak? Any messages for anyone watching? Why don't you like doing this? Do you not think people should know? The wider world should know about this kind of thing? Do you not think it's important that people know? I'm gonna go. well, as you can see, very little compared to those recordings I do. It's bizarre. It's really, really strange. But yeah, it's really interesting. Where would you like me to go with this? I know I kind of have limited mobility, but I'm thinking of places I can go. I do have great grandparents on the other side of the family, but I've kind of not gone and tried to contact them, only because there were so many family members who live locally as well, and I kind of don't want to tread on any toes with that. Like, I don't want to upset anybody, because I can't predict who is going to come through here, you know, so I don't really want to upset anyone, whereas there isn't really any family that I know of or that live locally with the people that I'm sort of contacting now, or at least I assume it's them that I'm contacting. So yeah, I do try and be careful with it, and I don't want to sort of upset anybody, because it is a sensitive thing, you know. I should also mention, I do feel like there are some kind of rules with this that I am not in control of, that something else is. I don't know if anybody else that uses these can kind of relate to this, but it's almost like there's something or someone overseeing it that says, right, stop, when it's time to stop. Like for me, it seems to be this female, and she's quite firm. She's quite sort of, she'll often say enough at the end, and when I hear her say enough, I'm like, okay, right, we have to stop now. So I sort of do feel like there are maybe hierarchies or layers, or maybe it's, you know, for my own protection or something like that. But yeah, I do try and respect that. And it was interesting. I think it was her actually that when David was coming in, she was like, look mate, we're in control. And I thought that was quite funny. Yeah, but it's really interesting. What I'd like to do as well is like a breakdown of the different voices that I hear, and maybe colour code it so you can kind of get an idea of who these same people are that keep coming through. Because again, if it's radio bleed, then you've got these same people on a very long shift, day in, day out. That's all I'm going to say. Including Christmas Day, these same voices come through. So something's going on, and yeah, I'm going to try and get to the bottom of it. That's all for now. Let me know what you thought of that. If you heard anything that I didn't catch, let me know in the comments, and yeah, do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Love and light to you all. Stay curious. Bye.